Now we are going to write our PHP script to display database content, which is basically sensors reading and different values that we did pass using ESP. So let's create another PHP file in the public HTML folder. So click here and let's name it ESP data.php. After creating the file, click create. Now we have it here, ESP data. What you need to do is simply click it and click edit to start editing your code. Now let's save our previous code and let's create a new file. Make sure that the syntax is PHP. Now let's start writing. The first thing that you need to do is write the HTML basic code, so you can get it HTML code, and as you can see, this is the main lines that you can write in your HTML. So you can simply copy these. I will give you the source code and I will provide links to download it, and just copy from W3 schools and paste. This is basically HTML code, and here we have the body. Inside the body we are gonna create a PHP code, so write PHP, and now we need to start writing our code, and it will be very similar to our previous code. So let's remove these two lines. We need first to copy this information, the server name, which is localhost, the database name, database username, database password, and let's save the code. Let's call it ESP data display. Okay, now that since we have this code, we can change again the syntax to PHP. I think that it did change it automatically to HTML because we wrote HTML code. Now we can move to PHP again. Now once you are done with writing your server name, database name, username and password, you need to create a connection and check it. Again, we did that in this code, so you can simply copy this, create connection and paste it here. Now if the connection failed, it will print connection failed if you entered any of this information in a wrong way. After that, we need to create an SQL variable and pass along the values, and to do that we can simply write the following. We write it that way here, but we write it in a different way here. Write $SQL, then the equal sign. Here you need to write select ID sensor data location data value 1 value 2 value 3 and the reading time. These are basically the values that we want to grab from our database, and write the database table that you need to read the data from. So from, and now you need to write the table name. So let's go back here. Our table name is ESP data. So copy ESP data, go back and write here ESP data. Now write order to order the data by ID in a decrement order. Okay. Now this line is basically calling the ID from the database that's called ESP data. It's calling ID, sensor data, location data, value 1, value 2, value 3, and reading time from this database table, and it's ordering the values by ID starting from the starting basically from number 1 and moving on to number 2, 3, 4, 5 and move on. Now after doing that, we can echo the values. We need to create a table to display data, And without going into details of the HTML coding, since this is not an HTML or PHP coding course, you can simply copy my code, and this code is basically creating a table. As you can see, it will has ID, sensor data, location data, value 1, value 2, value 3, and timestamp. These will be the name of the columns, and we will have all of these columns. As you can see, the cell spacing will be 5 and the cell padding will be 5. It's basically the space between cells and in vertically and horizontally. Now, after creating the table, we need to start passing values to this table. And to do so, we need first to make sure that we have a connection to the database and call things by ID. Now, to do that, what you need to do is basically use this code. Now, if the result of the connection is true, then go and call the ID and assign it to the ID row. Call the sensor data and assign it to the sensor. Call the location data and assign it to the location, and call the values and assign them each to a different variable in PHP. Now the next step will be to echo these values, and we can simply do that by using this code. We are gonna echo each of the values that we did receive from the table into this table that we have created here. So it will print out the row ID, the row sensor data, the row location data, the row value 1, 2, 3, and the reading time. Now, after doing all of this, we need to make sure that we are closing the connection, the PHP connection. So connection close, and this is the end tag for our PHP code, which is basically here. We open it here and we close it here. Now, after doing that, we need to make sure also to write the table tag. We created a table, so we can simply add this tag here, and this will close the table tag that we opened here in this area. As you can see, this is the opening of the table tag, and this is the closing. Now this is our code, and I'm going to provide the code for you in this lecture resources so that you can use it. Just make sure that you edit the server name, the database name, and the username and password to what you have in your website. Now select all, copy the code, go here to your file manager, paste the code, click save and close. Now you are done. Now if you try to access this code using a very similar link, just like we did in our previous example, and we call ESP data, it's called ESP data. Okay, ESP, not all. Now, as you can see, we are receiving an error on line 20. Let's check for the error. Okay, as you can see here in our code in line 20, there's a problem, which is basically we didn't end this line using a semicolon. So I add a semicolon here, copy the code, go back, edit here. Don't worry, I provide you with the correct code. Now check if there is any other error. Okay, we have a problem with constructing connection in line 14. As you can see, connection failed, and this was expected. I already told you that when you edit your database name, this is not the database name that's here. As you can see, this is our database name. So you need to copy this database name and paste it in your code. It has ESP data, which is the name that we did choose, but they usually add ID before that. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, now this is the name of our database, but they added their own ID for protection. Now, for the username, it's usually the same case. Now let's check the username for this database. As you can see, this is the database ID. And it has this table, it's called ESP data, so the table name is correct. We don't have to change it. Now usually you have to add the same prefix for the username. So we will copy this and we will paste it here. As you can see, now we have the ID, then the username, and let's copy the code. Let's edit this. Now we can paste it here, save and close. If you refresh the page, okay, let's go back, paste, save and close. As you can see, the ID, sensor data, location data, value 1, value 2, value 3, and the timestamp. So our page is working just fine. And this page, the first one, also needs to be modified. We need to edit these 3 lines. Let's copy them from here and paste them on our original code, which is this one. And let's paste them here. The database username and the database name need to be changed. Now save and close, and you are good to go. Now, if you don't like to go and write the code yourself, you can simply copy our code and just edit the database and the username and password, and you are good to go. You can add more values and more variables. It's easy. You can simply add more values here using these lines and calling them using this line. So depending on your project or what you are trying to achieve, you can simply edit all of this code to fit your needs. If you have any question about any line of code, I'm here to help you. Again, this is not a PHP or HTML course. That's why I didn't go into details of the PHP coding or HTML coding. You can simply copy and paste our code. I'll provide it for you in the resources lecture. That's it for now. This is Ashraf from Educational Engineering Team.